Hey, welcome to the Spooky Pizza Gift Shop. My name is Ken. I just want to talk about a thing I did. I've got too many of these in here. Gone. Anyway, so if you know me in real life, you probably don't realize that I love typewriters. And I actually went. Now, if you've been watching this YouTube channel, you have seen this bad boy. Okay. This Royal Mercury. Oh, get over there. Because I've made a couple of repairs on it, and I've talked about it, and I want to zoom out a little bit here. Oh, wrong way. Doggone it. Anyway, this is the guy. And I think I spent like $80, which is about $40 more than I could afford, to buy this because I love manual typewriters. And I haven't had one since I was in college, which is ages ago. But I got so excited about this. And I think I have one or two videos up about this guy on YouTube. Oh, now he's not. Now the case isn't going to go on. Well, we'll set it aside and we'll figure it out later. Anyway, I got so excited about it, I said, I need to make a zine with this thing. Okay, and that's this zine, Buster. And you can see here, I probably zoomed out. I'm zoomed in too far. There we go. Buster. So I made this last year, April 2023, issue number 1, all about typewriters. Typewriters! Yay! And it came, the amazing thing was, as old as this thing is, this machine is probably as old as I am, and it came with the manual. So as illustrations, I scanned pages of the manual and put them in here. And what I did was I just started typing, and my God, I had so much fun. So I reduced the pages and glued them up, because I've always wanted to do one of those zines where you kind of glue things together, cut and paste, as we call it. So yeah, I made an issue, number 1. It's all about typewriters. Over a year ago, I'm really bad about putting things up for sale because I'm like, oh, nobody's going to want that. But you know what? Somebody might want it. So it's not that nobody's going to want that. It's that somebody might want it. So put it out there. So, yeah. So this is all about typewriters. And I talk about like my origins using typewriters. A new old beginning, and of course you have to do headers by yourself. You know, this is a headline, or is that a headline? Because typewriters just do one thing, and that's just type. So the nice thing about a typewriter is there's no, unlike being a computer, you're not distracted. There's just you, the typewriter, and the paper, and you know, you're not like, oh well, what's on Twitter, or what used to be called Twitter. Typing as revenge, because typewriters do make noise, and this is, yeah, I have loud neighbors, and this is my chance to get back at them. So this is the amount of money I spent on it. Back to origins. I was just so happy. I'm like, this is a one-off. I did a little bit of research, but yeah. Anyway, I was so happy to do this, and I thought I need to keep going with this. I'm overdue, I admit. So in May 2023, I made Buster number 2, where I talked about 80s music. 80s music, 80s music, 80s music. And I actually have a playlist for this, which is right here. If you buy this, you can just scan that with a QR code, because I put a QR code. QR codes and typewriters are about 180 degrees on the spectrum, well, 178 degrees on the spectrum of things that are, you know, typographical. But anyway, we live in that weird part of the Venn diagram that is the 21st century. 21st, yeah. So I talk about 80s music, and here's the table of contents. I talk about The Clash and this entire album, London Calling, Real Life, Send Me an Angel, which I think they were Australian, right? Great song. I talk about the first Duran Duran album, and then the Great Cassette Purge, because I used to have all of this on cassettes. I don't anymore because I underestimated where technology would take us. So I did want to add a lot of color, so I colored the original with colored pencils. I included color prints, and I printed this out on my color printer. There's London Calling by The Clash. There is Real Life, Send Me an Angel. That was a 45. And if you don't know what 45 and 33 is, you're not going to learn from reading this, because I forgot to talk about that. There's the first Duran Duran album ever, with the track listing. Also, in some weird way, I am able to connect Huckleberry Finn, The Catcher in the Rye, and Rule of the Bone by Russell Banks through one of these Duran Duran songs. So, and then there's the great cassette purge, which is on fire. Cassettes, yay! And then number 3, I did in December 2023. I actually have a bunch of stuff for a new issue. I just have not put it together. This is 80s movies, 80s movies, 80s movies. I changed the title because this was a pain in the butt to type. Also, it looks kind of like cross-stitch, and so what I did was just type it and then just blew it up on my printer. So there's the address for it if you want to learn more. And this is not so much about 80s movies as about movies I saw in the 80s. So I do talk about the difference between going to movies then and going to movies now. Again, we have color, the Star Wars, and notice the Star Wars because I saw the original Star Wars. And if you have not seen Star Wars in the theater, you probably haven't actually seen Star Wars. The Empire Strikes Back. I talk about hometown theaters. My Summer in Darkness, because believe it or not, folks, this theater I used to work at as a projectionist when I was in college. It was hotter than hell in this tiny little room upstairs. See this little tiny window right there? That's the projectionist booth. We used carbon arc lights in the projectors, which were about 90 years old or 80 years old or whatever. It was just, I just sweated buckets. And that little tiny window was all the ventilation I had. So, but the owners were great. They brought me drinks all the time. So, previews, because we used to get previews. Now we just get ads. Fiddler on the Roof, which is where I learned about intermission, Star Wars, more about Star Wars, and then Gremlins, which is a great movie, but that was the Tartan Tinies incident. So, again, this is, all of these are 16 pages. 16 pages. 16 pages. So, 16 page. Well, almost 16 pages. So I'm going to put these up on Etsy. I will include a link down below in the description so that you can go on there and get these if you are so inclined. I am going to make more. Like I said, I've got a whole bunch of stuff typed up for this another issue. I just haven't had a chance to get around to it. It's not always going to be about 80s stuff, but that's kind of the theme that we have going for these second and third issue. So, yeah. So anyway, thanks for watching. Again, my name is Ken. Thank you for visiting the Spooky Pizza Gift Shop. I will see you next time.